Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my sliding timescale friend Frank. How are you today?
Hello! The more time goes on, I don't age.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah. That's how sliding timescales work.
Yeah. I mean, because like when I'm 90, you're still going to look 20 flump-flump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 20 flump-flump.
20. Not just one. Not just two.
But 20
flump-flumps.
Flump-flumps. Which is good.
This is episode 120 flump-flump, you know.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Wow. Can't believe we've seen each other 120 times. When you think of it
120 flump-flump times.
Yeah, 120 flump-flump times. Right. That's crazy.
Not actually 120, but...
Well, flump-flump. Flump-flumps.
Right.
Anyway, what are you drinking?
Well, we're both drinking this delicious Brooklyn Summer Ale, brewed in New York by the Brooklyn Brewery Company. Brooklyn Brewery is a company that I didn't really fully appreciate when I lived in New York. I wasn't really a beer guy. Didn't know a lot about beer when I lived there.
Not appreciated in your own time.
No, I didn't. But man, is it ever a really delicious something you can really sip on at a barbecue at the beach. Really enjoy. It's nice, light and sweet, with a little bit of a bite on the end of it, but nice and smooth.
Cool.
Brooklyn Summer Ale.
Good. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Choppy chew. All right.
Choppy chew.
All right. Well, anyway, so I was thinking, there's we talk a lot of superhero comics.
Yes.
Certainly. But we kind of ignore a lot of other stuff, particularly, arguably, like, one of the biggest of all time. Could you argue that could be the case?
True. It is true. It is true. Yeah. One of the biggest non-superhero franchise, certainly one of the longest lasting non-superhero franchises
of all time
in comics, right?
Yeah, Archie Comics.
Archie Comics.
Yeah. Because I think to a certain generation, when you say like, "Oh, I read comics," is either like an older generation, perhaps you go, like, "Oh, I used to read Archies and blah blah blah."
Yeah,
that was the thing. And now you look at what Archie is, and it's certain, just like all other comics, it's not what you used to read.
Not at all.
But it took so much longer for Archie to get there.
That's right. It stayed in that campy Silver Age style for a long time.
Years. Decades.
Decades.
Until recently.
Yeah, really.
In the last couple of years. But then even really in the last year. So, how were you first introduced? Like, do you have a memory of like being introduced to Archie? I
do. I remember my first exposure to Archie was this cartoon.
Okay.
In the, I'd say probably late 90s. Archie's Weird Mysteries.
Sounds like a Scooby-Doo knockoff.
Yeah, basically that's what it was. But it was like a Saturday morning cartoon type, and it was just it was still. I remember the episode I remember the best is Archie has his car, and he gets the fuzzy dice to hang on the mirror.
Yeah,
and the fuzzy dice come to life, and like they're a monster, and they like take over the town, and they try to eat everybody and eat the car comes to life, and it tries to run everybody over and eat people. And
that's fun. So there's a history of Archie battling some weird
the
stuff,
weird supernatural,
right? Because there's a bunch of that stuff now. There's Afterlife with Archie, which is like a 70s zombie horror. Zombies have taken over Riverdale, and they all have to survive, and blah blah blah.
Right.
And then there's in Archie versus Predator, Archie versus the Sharknado, and like all of this stuff is it kind of permeates outward. Okay, so you put on, what is this, the beginning?
This is just like the opening credits, I guess.
I don't remember this at all.
This is not the opening credits that I remember.
Okay, it just says Scarlet Knight over and over.
Yeah, I
and
think
over
they might have
again.
done this so that YouTube wouldn't take them down or something. I don't think or maybe it is.
I was a teenage vampire. Well, that's Veronica. That's a vampire. That's Archie.
Yeah.
That's a vampire.
It's very much in the style of the old, like what old Archie in the comics used to
It's
look
actually
like.
quite impressive how
How
well it's translated.
Yeah, it's a straight up adaptation.
Like that's definitely Archie. That's definitely Jughead. That's definitely Betty and Veronica.
look the same except for the hair color.
Yeah. Oh my God, they do. That's so weird. Their hair is different, but everything else is the same.
Yep.
That's why he can't choose.
And they're dressed differently, but that's about it.
Yeah, right. But their faces are the same.
Yes.
Wow, that's so weird.
So yeah, that's
funny. I have almost no memory of being introduced to Archie. I remember there used to be like gum you could get for really cheap that had a little Archie comic on the inside of the wrapper.
Sure, that's not Bazooka Joe.
Bazooka Joe is probably what it was.
Sorry,
I didn't remember. I don't know. I'm glad you remembered. Did you remember? Do you remember like there being?
I remember Archie gum,
yeah,
but I remember
sure
Bazooka Joe. That's like Bazooka Joe was bubblegum that had little
comics on the inside. I'm
Bazooka
pretty
Joe.
sure that there were some Archie little syrups on the inside.
Interesting.
I could be wrong about that, but that's otherwise. I literally have no idea how else I know about what Archie is besides that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. You may be right here. It looks like
yes. Oh yes.
It looks like there may have been some partnership with.
Yeah, that's that with the little red tag, and there were just like 4 or
okay.
8 panels or whatever.
Huh,
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah. Archie gum comics.
Boom.
That seems like a very old thing. I think Bazooka's the only one that's still around, and that's why I know about it.
Oh.
But Archie may have been still published or still been gum comics.
Right.
Maybe that's it.
Well, there you go.
I take back I laughed at you and I take it back.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Feel free to laugh at me at any time. You know how.
I'll laugh at you again.
Yeah, I'm sure you were. I'm sure you will, and I'm sure your voice will bounce off the buildings across the street.
I'm sure it will.
All right. So, what really got me into Archie recently is Mark Waid and Fiona Staples' new run, which is not Fiona Staples anymore, which is actually upsetting because I think she's back on Saga. I think it was like her little break.
I see.
But Mark Waid, do you like Mark Waid? I assume you
really like Mark Waid
I like
a
Mark
lot.
Waid a lot. I know some people who really don't.
Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine. But I really like his stuff, and so he updated Archie because Archie went through this like, we're stuck in the Silver Age, so let's do this thing where it's still the Silver Age, but it's versus the Predator or Sharknado or any of these things, and let's do Afterlife with Archie, where I was actually really cool. Oh, who did the art on that? He did. Fernando. It was he did a Batman book with Scott Snyder. And it was like Jim Gordon's son is a serial killer.
Oh, yes.
And you know who I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yes.
That guy. So Mark Waid relaunched with Fiona Staples of Saga Archie #1. And did you pick up the #1 or did I tell you to pick it up?
I believe you told me.
I think I might.
I think you might have.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really freaking good.
It's so fun.
It's a fun book, and it's modernized. It's kind of it's like a high school drama, but in a fun way, not in a like overly like soap opera kind of way.
Right, exactly.
Fun, funny, clever.
And it's still stupid Archie stuff. Like,
yeah, it's still got those
Lodge Man, I got knocked down because of Archie.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
But without that kind of a like,
oh no.
It doesn't feel like an old comic, like Poppy the Sailor or something like
right,
that. Like
it's right.
It's a little more like it's kind of the difference between like pick any teen drama from like the early 90s and compare it to Smallville.
Yeah.
Archie feels like Smallville.
Yes. But
without superheroes.
That's a great way. It's like that new millennium style of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Even Smallville's a little outdated now. Mm-hmm. So you could like pick, like something that's like like a Gilmore Girls or which I guess came out around the same time, but you know what I mean? It's like that.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
next level storytelling. It's not necessarily. And Archie was also like, it's one and done. It's like we're moving on, and they tried a while. Like Archie died, and Archie like picked one of them, and like Betty or Veronica, and then it was like one book one story you would read like what his adult life would be like with Betty, and the next one would be like what his adult life was with Veronica, and like stuff like that. But part of the stupidity, I guess, and fun of Archie is that he's just like this stupid teenager who has these two beautiful girls who are like, I love Archie.
Right, and he can't pick.
It's so bad in like its own weird way.
It is. And yet it's being done right now in a really fun way.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like a weird sexist, and they feel very independent, especially Sally. Not Sally, but Betty. I don't know why I said Sally. I don't know where that came from. Yeah, Betty feels particularly like independent.
I really like what they've done with her character, where she's like, yes, she's, they dated, and yes, they were best friends since they were kids, but she's not just like this damsel. She lives next door, but she like works on cars. She like knows about. She likes to work on cars. That's like her thing. She knows about this kind of stuff. She's like a really like she feels like a much more real person and a much more three-dimensional character,
right?
Than just like, I exist just to be in love with Archie, and I wish that he would date me instead of Veronica.
Right?
I'm gonna sigh about it. Yep. Like she's actually a real person who like has other friends and other guys who are interested in her, and she's like a well-rounded human being,
right?
As is everyone in the stories, and you see them struggle with this thing where just they've broken up, but they still care about each other and they're still friends. So now, even though he's dating Veronica now, spoilers, he still has Betty as sort of a support system as a friend. So it's a really interesting take on that. And now I had not read any Archie comics before this run.
To be honest, I used to find them kind of like I would try every so often, and I'd be like, it was like, I just don't care.
It just seemed like something that was really boring.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was still stuck in the 60s.
Yeah, and which is, I mean, and it's funny because like you read this book and it's definitely mod, like with their cell phones in their cars and whatever else. But I mean, like they still go to the the hamburger joint and like all that stuff.
Right.
That
Jughead still like eats. Right. And
he still has the weird crown on top of his head for no reason, but it all feels freshly modded. How like old things come back around new again, and that we're in that era where I think like something like the way that these characters were acting back in the 50s and the 60s and whatever else, it feels fresh and new like that again.
But it's also a fresh take on it, though. So you're taking the elements that still work and updating them a little bit to bring them into the 21st century. So you're not. It's not like it's not retro. It's like a modern. It's like it really is like watching a present day like TV drama.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Yeah, it's got a really nice pace to it.
Totally.
Like really, really nice.
And the story is interesting. Like
you care about them pretty instantly.
Yeah.
Archie's really likable. Jughead's goofy, but has like they're not one dimensional anymore.
Exactly.
And I think that's the ticket.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, they're not. You could always say that you could barely say anything about their characters now, but you can say almost anything about that core group of at least the four of them.
Yeah,
maybe Mr. Lodge isn't totally fleshed out yet, but there's enough there, and when Veronica's like she's trying, she tries really hard to fit in and to not be spoiled and selfish and all that, and she tries to go like there's that recent issue where Mr. Lodge won't let Archie come over the house anymore, so she has to hang out there. So she like brings the chef and she brings this, and it's like stupid and whatever else. But that's her like trying to be nice to Archie's family.
That's all she knows how to do.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, it's just it's good. It's good fun. There's that CW show coming too.
That's right. Berlanti is working on Riverdale.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, which Is there a trailer for it? I know there was one shown at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I don't think it came out though.
It didn't come out?
No,
okay.
so.
Yeah, from what I've gathered, I could be wrong about this, but I think they're going in the Archie Weird Tales or Afterlife with Archie direction. You know, instead of just being the teen drama, it's the teen drama plus
Little Freak of the Week, maybe.
Yeah, Little Freak of the Week, which is fine.
Yeah.
Shows the that's the Archie
that's-
movie trailer.
Yeah, which I think is
That's
not official trailer.
Yeah, shows the darker side of Archie and friends. Yeah. Are you Riverdale coming soon? Yeah, it looks like I think it's gonna go in that Scooby-Doo-ish, you know, the gang's together, but the monsters are there, kind of. I'm fine with that. That's fine. I actually really would have liked to have seen something maybe more akin to the Mark Waid run, actually, because it's compelling enough. But I can understand. But there also needs to be something, I guess, a little. It's not out of left field for Archie Comics to do something like this with monsters or anything like that. So I don't know. I'm intrigued. Is it a fall release? Do you know?
I think it's supposed to be. They're I think maybe a later fall. Or, if it was fall, we probably would have seen it by now. It probably is a mid-season replacement. Berlanti says it has as much heart as it does edge.
Well, I mean, Berlanti's got my money now.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Like he's got so many successes in a row under his belt that I'm excited for.
I watched 4 of his shows. You know what I mean? Like that's huge for a producer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's like, you know, you go to see all of Andrew Lloyd Webber's stuff, or you see all of Jerry Bruckheimer's stuff, or, you know.
Except he's working on all of these things at the same time. 4 shows at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Well, as a producer would. Maybe Andrew Lloyd Webber was a bad example because, you know, TV and the theater are different. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Name recognition from a television producer is, you know, like Chuck Lorre. There's, you know what I mean? That's, you know, you see Chuck Lorre is. The fact that you can name a television producer is pretty extraordinary.
Like Chuck Lorre comes to mind, Dick Wolf comes to mind. Like,
oh, Dick Wolf, right?
Yeah.
Law and Order. Dun, dun, dun,
right.
Dun, dun. I heard something recently where they were like, Law and Order has been on for so long because it gets to the point where you're like, yeah, I won't turn this off.
It's like, oh, it's on. I mean, I might
as well just keep watching.
Watch this horrible murder take place.
Yeah, right. Or I will just, you know, like go do other things, but not turn the television off.
Right.
So like the Law and Order like marathon that's on every day will just keep going because people love cop stuff too.
Yes.
You know, what's that joke? What's that joke from the Comedian where who talks about it? Where you can like say anything you can say the worst stuff on Law and Order. Or like on cop shows that you shouldn't really be able to get away with because of censors. Who is that?
Yeah, but
because you know you could be like, oh, that little like Ice-T be like, oh, that little girl, you know, what is that?
John Mulaney says.
John Mulaney, that's it. He has that. I love that bit where
like you can say words you weren't allowed to say on TV as long as
the cop's saying them. You mean that they were decapitated by the axe of another prostitute who had HIV, who was also doing this show with a donkey, and you're like it's crazy,
ridiculous thing.
But if it's on a cop show, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, John Mulaney has that bit. That's what's funny. You know what I like? They're still going back to Archie for a second. They still they're
still publishing the older style.
Yeah, so you can see the very stark difference with the old logo, with the old font, the 3 little heads of the old looking characters.
Yep,
they'll still have that, and even Betty and Veronica. I think this looks like it's more of a trade or digest,
right?
So they're still publishing some of that stuff, but there's a different look for that. So they've found this way to still have the old stuff there for people who want it, but the new stuff has a new look, new logos. New all the characters have a new look.
Which is great because there's Archie, there's Jughead, and there's Betty and Veronica. Those are the 3 new ones. Plus, you can get the older style too.
Those are the titles, yeah.
Actually, the Betty and Veronica one is Adam Hughes.
Yeah, I haven't picked it up.
It's good.
Is it good? I read only the first 2 issues of Jughead, and I was just sort of like, this is good, but like
it's not Archie. Yeah.
And so I didn't try Betty and Veronica. Just after that, I was like, maybe I shouldn't take on more titles than I can handle.
I almost didn't, but I really like Adam Hughes. His stuff is generally very beautiful. And so I said, well, even if it's kind of a slog of a read, at least like the first, like it'll be pretty. It'll be pretty pictures for 20 pages or so. And I think it took a couple pages to get going. But I enjoyed it because it's the whole gang, and it's really, but it's their story. Because I mean, as much as you can argue that there are other characters in the Archie books, it's Archie's story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody else is a supporting player. So at least in this way, they are also supporting players.
Right.
Yeah.
You can still subscribe to get them delivered, to get this English delivered to your home from Archie.
From Archie.com?
From ArchieComics.com.
Wow.
That's like a magazine subscription. Like, I've never seen that.
Yeah, you can't do that much with pretty much anything else.
None of the other publishers can do that. I mean, you can do it through other sites, but I have not seen it through the publisher directly. For a long
I used
time.
to subscribe to X-Men when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just at the starting point, like at the end of Mutants before Grant Morrison started his run with New X-Men. And that book was super delayed. But I was too young to understand, like, that books could get delayed or something like that. And so, like, it would take months and months and months for an issue of X-Men to show up. I couldn't figure out why, and I hated it. So I canceled my subscription only after a year because, like, I got one consistently for a while, and then Grant Morrison took over, and then with Frank Quietly, who is usually always late on books. And when you're a kid, like, you just don't get that. You just don't understand. And plus, his stuff was almost impenetrable when you are 13 years old.
Oh, for that age, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard when you're almost 30.
Yeah, so it's true.
That's
so true. I mean, his new X-Men stuff wasn't exactly like, the Invisibles, or whatever. Yeah. But still, it was trippy, and I didn't care for the art at the time. I remember, like, Cyclops was like built and like handsome and all this stuff, and then Frank Quietly takes over, and he's like he took like Slim literally.
Oh,
and he's got like
really?
this weird like little smushed head, and it's just
that's Quietly.
Yeah, right. Which is fine if you like that style, but when you're 13, you don't understand transitions for stuff like that.
Sure.
Which is in some ways maybe why Archie is so great that it lasted like in one style for so long. It's not
Which is really rare, like to have the same look for so long.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, it wasn't always the same look, right? Because in the back of all the Mark Waid comics, I really like what they're doing where the back story,
the original Archies,
old Archies from like the 40s, and he gives a one-page intro to it and explains sort of like, here's a story you're about to read. I know it's going to be hard to sit through this, but try it because it's worth it. Because like my generation grew up reading this stuff and it's fun. So like, just try it. Here's what the story's about. It might be hard to follow because some of the slang. Oh, also here's what the slang words mean.
It's good of him to do that in a way, like please try and appreciate
this is
what
like the
has
history
come
of this
before
medium,
you.
and like just try to appreciate it. And like,
do you read them?
I read the first several. I haven't read the last couple.
Yeah.
But I was reading the first several, and then I started sort of skimming them, but looking for the things that he pointed out. Like in particular, notice like this fun thing, and this is the first appearance of Mr. Lodge, or this is the first thing, like that kind of stuff. Or like, oh, it's really funny on page 4 where like he says this word that's like a curse word now, but it didn't mean that back then. Like this is a racial slur now, but it wasn't back then.
It wasn't then.
That kind of stuff. That's always interesting, just like from a historical perspective. But I haven't read the last 2 or 3 to be honest. But I was enjoying what I was seeing. But yeah, you can see like that Archie had a really different look in the very, very early days.
Yeah,
like this chubby little butterball.
He was like a Dennis the Menace with freckles.
Yes. Oh, that's such a good description. Yes. He was short and chubby and freckled. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of got taller and skinnier and sort of like, okay, let's make him like a good looking guy.
Yeah. and even then, I mean, when you look at the 60s style, like he's not like exactly like the handsome man on the block.
No, he's kind of a funny looking
but
guy,
if you read Mark Waid stuff, he is a heartthrob. He's a good looking kid.
That's another one of those changes is like, let's make him like one of the eligible bachelors on campus.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
But he's also like, but he's not like everyone likes Archie.
Everyone likes Archie.
But he's not that, but that's it. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's incredibly likable and he's handsome, but he's not like, people aren't falling out of their way to like, be friends with him in an intimate way or anything like that. He's just, everybody likes him because he's a nice person. I think it's a nice blend.
You can it's kind of like, Archie reminds you of Peter Parker in a lot of ways. You can either do Peter Parker where
Parker wasn't exactly... Yeah.
No, you can either do Peter Parker where he's like a better looking guy and like has some of his life together, but not everything's perfect, but like things are okay. Or you can do Peter Parker where like he's skinny and he's a nerd and nobody likes him and Flash Thompson wants to beat him up every day.
That's a real good point.
Like everything's going wrong, or like a couple things are going okay, but he's still got the secret and whatever.
That's a good point. Actually, well, I mean, like when you read. If you read Ditko's and Stan Lee's original Spider-Man stuff, like he's, Puny Parker, nobody likes him, he's nerdy, he's not even really handsome, like, nothing. And then when he goes to college and it's John Romita Sr., he is handsome. He is a good-looking man, and people like Peter Parker now, and it's funny that, like some people didn't like that they transitioned him into this like kind of like he's got broad shoulders and he's this and that. But
They
you know what,
tried
people but people also change from high school to college. Sure. You know, it's not
a new crowd makes a difference.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And
you grow up, you change your like hopefully people don't look like they did when they were 15 still, and you're
right.
You know, you're now 28 or whatever, and you have a job, whatever. I hope you don't look like you're 15.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But that's where the sliding time scale comes in we were talking about before, right?
Right.
Because now Archie is being rebooted, and so they're like back to being 17 again or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm. Just like that movie with
17 again. Jennifer Garner, right?
It's 13 going on 30.
13
17 again is Matthew Perry and
Zac Efron.
Yes. Which was actually a good movie.
Was it really?
Yeah. I actually would recommend if it's on TV or whatever. It was actually pretty funny.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will check it out.
Yeah.
But only if it happens to be on TV.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out of your way to watch it, but it really took me by surprise how much I enjoyed it.
Okay. Fair. Yeah, Archie has the staying power that a lot of things don't. It's actually funny. So, like, yeah, you can subscribe, and I went just to see, like, this is actually what I think it is. It's a Yahoo store website. Do you remember those from, like, the early 90s?
Oh, my God, Yahoo stores. Really?
It was like you either opened an eBay shop or a Yahoo store.
A Yahoo store, right.
And Archie Comics, the official Archie Comics...
is still a Yahoo store.
Is still a Yahoo store. That's so freaking...
I don't even know Yahoo stores still existed.
I didn't know it did either.
Maybe it's a trick.
I'm like, is this a phishing scam? I don't know. Well, I don't know. That's about all I've got on Archie. How about you?
If you were Archie.
Oh.
If you were Archie... You know my question.
Mm-hmm.
Would Jughead be your best friend?
Absolutely,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No.
Is it Betty or is
Betty
it
for me? I'm a sucker for the girl next door.
Yeah,
you know, I love the down to earth girl next door type who's like beautiful but attainable.
It's Betty for me too.
Yeah,
though I'm a brunette over blonde.
I am too. But personality wise,
Betty wins out. I think she's got a better head on her shoulders than Veronica does.
Yeah.
And so like the first arc where they're not together and it's like a mystery why they're not together and they're kind of both upset.
The lipstick incident.
Yeah, right. It's actually like kind of devastating. I remember reading that first issue and I was like, no.
Why aren't they together?
No, I need to know.
That's exactly it. I like that hooked me was like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Okay, I will read this until I figure out why.
Yeah, and then you kept reading afterwards because it's a good time. That first arc's art really though, that Fiona Staples art is really
so good.
Although I can't remember who's on it right now, but they're really good and it's going to bother me. But that's okay. Somebody can write in and tell me, or just look it up yourself.
Veronica Fish?
Sure. That sounds good.
Veronica Fish.
Cool. Yeah, Veronica Fish. Good stuff. Good stuff from Veronica Fish.
Great art.
All right. So, yeah, that's all I have for Archie.
Cool. Well,
you want to check out Archie Weird Tales on YouTube, though.
Yeah, Archie's Weird Mysteries. Yeah, it looks like there are some full episodes here. So yeah, it was on from 1999 to 2000. So it was not much
just
of
a season. Yeah,
just like it looks like going about 21 episodes. So
I'm sure it was great though.
It was fun. It was a fun show. That's all I remember. Oh my God, Andrew Rannells was the voice of Archie. My God,
tell me who that is.
Andrew Rannells is on Girls now. He was in Book of Mormon on Broadway.
Oh yeah. Hello, my name is Elder Price.
Yeah, he was the main. He was the main guy. Yeah, he's big now. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, now he's on Girls on HBO. That's kind of what he's known for nowadays. Anyway, that's crazy. That's him. Huh. Anyway, you can find us on the internet, beerwithgeeks.com or Beer with Geeks on Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, any of those places. Tell us what you think about Archie or any ideas for other non-superhero comics that maybe we should talk about, things we're not thinking about, that kind of stuff. Let us know. You can rate and review us on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Google Play, on Overcast. You can find us anywhere that better podcasts are found. So check us out and give us a listen, give us a shout.
You make us want to shout. All right, I won't do the rest.
Let's not.
Yeah, but it's going to be in everyone's head now. It's going to be in everyone's head. All right, well, until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.